All right. Hi there, everybody. Welcome. How's everyone doing today? Welcome to today's Feature Spotlight webinar. Well, my name is Abby, in case we haven't met before. Thank you so much for joining Mangomint's Feature Spotlight webinar today. Today's Feature Spotlight topic is going to be all about integrated forms. So if you're watching and whether you manage a med spa, maybe you have a hair salon, a massage practice, or any other type of salon or spa, today's webinar is going to show you how you can collect and organize important client information directly in Mangomint. So today I'm going to show you how you can create and edit a form template, save your form progress while you're filling out the form, approve a form, and more, all using our integrated forms. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to start showing the Mangomint app and we will go from there. Okay, I am sharing the Mangomint platform now. Just let me know if anybody can't see that. And if you have any questions during the webinar, definitely drop those into the chat. We will try to follow up with as many, as we can, address those during the webinar. But then anybody that we don't have time to follow up with during the live webinar, we will make sure that we follow up with you one-on-one afterwards as well. So I'm right here in my Mangomint account right now. I'm actually here on the calendar screen. So as you can see, we are in the account for the Seven Lakes Med Spa. This is one of the demo accounts that I like to use. This is a med spa, so you can see there's a lot of different med spa related services that we have going on today. On the books, we have a lot of different things scheduled, everything from some Botox, we got cheek enhancements, lip flip, things like that. So kind of just across the board there. But before we kind of dive too deep into this, I want to give you a little bit of an overview of, what are our integrated forms and some common use cases that you would want to use Mangomint's integrated forms for. So as I mentioned before, you can use our integrated forms to collect and securely store and organize client information, do that all inside of Mangomint. The really cool thing as well is that our forms work on various devices. So on desktop, tablet, and of course in both iPhone and Android mobile apps as well. So no matter what device you're using, you'll always be able to access our forms. And it's also really easy when you're setting up our forms. It's very easy to choose how forms are sent to your clients and who is going to be notified when forms are submitted as well. So I want to just give you a little bit of an overview, kind of some common use cases where you'd want to use our integrated forms. I really think that these fall into three main buckets typically. So the first use case would be you want to gather information from clients. So, these are forms that your clients are going to fill out. A great example of this would be something like a client intake form. And then kind of that second bucket we have is forms that are filled out by internal staff members, and they're using those to do things like logging treatment notes, logging their soap notes, doing client charting, things like that. So those are forms that would be filled out by your staff members. And then kind of that third category that we also support is we allow you to create external forms as well. So maybe you would actually like to place a form on your website, for example. Maybe you have a hair salon and you have a website set up for your salon and you would like to put a form there. So maybe you actually want to put a hair extension application that different people can fill out before they even book any type of appointment with you. Another really great use case for our external forms would be job applications. So we see a lot of salons and spas putting job applications on their website, and they've used Mangomint's external forms to build those. Another thing that I also want to make sure I touch on, just in addition to kind of going over those three basic use cases for our forms, is that if you're watching today and if you have a med spa, aesthetics clinic, or another related type of business that does require HIPAA compliance, we have you totally covered. So our integrated forms are HIPAA compliant. So definitely let us know if you need HIPAA compliance. That is available on some of our plans, so we will be able to help you out. So just let us know if that applies to you. I love our integrated forms because you don't need to rely on other form software. So you're going to be able to handle all of your form needs directly inside of Mangomint. So now I'm going to show you a custom form template that I've already built out previously. And so let's go ahead and go look at that. So we're here in the calendar, of course, but now let's go to where we actually set up our form templates. So I'm going to click on settings. So we'll go there. And then if we scroll down, you can see that we have this form templates button right here. So let's go ahead and click on that. So now I'm here. This is where I have all of my different form templates. You can see here that on the left side, I do have a few different forms that I've already built out previously. And again, I just want to reiterate that our forms can really be built in a matter of minutes. It's super fast. There's no complicated setup involved. It's very easy to set up the different fields you need and even move the different fields around as well. And I'll show you how to do that. So just as some examples here, you can say I have a client intake form. You can see I've got a dermal fillers injections waiver. I've got a doctor authorization. I have some staff soap notes, etc. So I already have a lot of different forms built out here. But what I want to do is let's go ahead and take a look at a form template that I have right here. We're going to look at this one called injectable treatments client record. So I have now pulled this up here. So as you can see, when you're building a form, you're going to set up some different details for the form. So right here, you can see I have the name of the form and then I have a description. This is really helpful just so other staff members know what the form is for. And then as we scroll down here, this is where you get to decide who is going to actually fill out the form. So this form, again, this is for staff members to fill out. If you wanted, this is where you could also choose if you instead wanted clients to fill out the form, or if you had one of those external forms I was talking about, this is where you would actually choose those options instead. But for now, we're just going to leave this set to staff members because that is who is going to fill out this client record. And then you'll also choose how often the form needs to be filled out. So this is really nice because you can decide if the form needs to be filled out for every appointment. Or the really cool thing is that you can really customize this more. So if you want, you can also have it filled out only once for each client. For this one though, I'm just going to keep it set to for every appointment. And then you'll also choose what appointments is it for. So again, our forms are super customizable. So you could have the form template be used for all appointments if you wanted to. But for this one, I actually want it to be really specific. So I only want to use this injectable treatments client record, specifically when people book services in certain categories. And the category that I've chosen here is injectables and filler. So any services from those category, whenever those services are booked, then that means that this form will need to be filled out. All right, let me move on to this next section here. So next, you're going to decide if your form needs to have a review/approval workflow or not. So I'm really excited to go over this part of our forms. This is actually a newer enhancement that we've added for integrated forms. And this review and approval feature is especially helpful, typically for med spas or other types of businesses where you need, maybe a medical director or a nurse practitioner or other staff members to review and approve your forms. And that's going to help you ensure, greater accuracy, greater compliance, all of that. And I really like this because you can see here from these options, we've really given you full flexibility to choose the best option for every single custom form you create. So if you want, you do not need to require any type of review. So you would just go with this first option. This is often what we see a little bit more commonly, but if you need review, you actually have a couple different options as well. So if you want to require a review, then you can choose this middle option. That just means that the staff members will review the form, but they will not do an extra signature on it or anything like that. Or you can go with this third option. If you want to require a review as well as a signature, then you can just go ahead and select that option. So that means that they will actually need to formally sign off on the form before it's officially submitted and approved. Okay, so for this form, I am going to require a review and signature. So I'm choosing this third option here. And then now we get to pick who will actually review this form. So let me go ahead and just click on add a staff member, and then we can see a list of available staff members. And I'm just going to choose Katie. So I'm going to click Katie Wilson right here. She is one of the admins, one of the admins on this account. Let's just say she's also one of the medical directors who will actually be reviewing certain forms at the Seven Lakes Med Spa. So I'm just going to pick Katie right there. Okay, so now that we've chosen Katie, I am going to scroll up here and let's just take a look quickly at some of the fields that I have in this form. So as you can see here, again, I've already added these previously. We have the first name, last name, birthday. We can add the appointment details in, talking about which treatments did the client receive today. If I can click into there, and you can see I've already added the different options, but it's really easy to go in here if you want to delete any of those or edit them, add new ones, things like that. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that out. So you can see I have all types of different fields in here. I've also added an image markup field as well. And then I've also asked for the provider signature. If I wanted to add more form fields, I can easily do that. And you can see, I'm just going to click on that for a second so you guys can see the variety of different form fields that we offer. So you can really customize these forms to your needs. Okay, and then also something else I want to show you is that it's really easy to reorder the fields as well. So let's say, for example, I wanted the number of units used. Let's say I want to move that up. I can just click and drag and I could put that up there. So I can just move that. I'm going to go ahead and move that back for now, but as you can see, it's super easy to reorder those. So I'm going to go ahead and click done. And then now let's preview our form so we can see what it looks like. Okay. Perfect. So now we are seeing the preview of our injectable treatments client record form right here. You can see all of the different fields that we had that we were just talking about before. And I really love using this preview. As you're building the form, you can go check how it looks and just continually look at that and just make sure that your form has all of the different fields that you want, check for typos or anything like that. So I really love using this preview as I'm building forms. Okay, perfect. So now that we've built our form, you can also see I've already enabled the form, but definitely make sure that you remember to enable the form before you're actually ready to use it, once you're all finished adding all of the information. And then of course, this was an existing form that we already had, but if you want to add a new form template, it's really easy to just go here and click add form template. That'll start you a completely new form from scratch. I won't go ahead and go through that just in the interest of time, but very easy to go and add as many form templates as you need to. Okay, so now I want to actually, now that we have this form all built out here, let's go ahead and see the form in action. And we're gonna go to our calendar and book an appointment. So I'm gonna hop over to the calendar right here, and then let's go ahead and book a new appointment. So I'm going to click here, and let's say, for example, we have a client, let's say Carrie, for example. We have Carrie Griffith. She wants to come in and she is going to get some Botox done. So I'm going to go ahead and click, I've added the client here, and then I'm just going to choose the service. So let's search for Botox. We have Botox right here. I'll go ahead and click that, and then let's go ahead and book the appointment. Okay, so now I have booked the appointment. It is confirmed. As you can see here, the really cool thing about our forms is as soon as you book that appointment, you're going to see all of the forms that have automatically been attached to this appointment. And there's actually 3 different forms here. For now, we're just going to focus on one of them. But you can see I actually have 3 different forms that are automatically attached whenever we book a Botox appointment. And something else that's really nice is that when you're looking at the calendar, you can see that this appointment has forms attached to it by looking at this little pencil icon right here. So I really love that as well. Okay, so now let's pretend that we're ready to fill out the form as a staff member. So what I'm going to do is I can go ahead and just start filling out that injectable treatments client record form that we were looking at before. So that is this form right here. I'm going to click here, and then I'm just going to click fill out. Okay, perfect. And now that form has opened up here. I also really love this because as a staff member, as I'm filling out this form, I can actually, still keep an eye on the calendar and, be able to see what appointments are upcoming. So I can kind of multitask here a little bit as well, which is super nice. So let's go ahead and let's just say I want to start filling this out. So I'll start adding some information. Okay, just add the birthday right there. And then we'll just go ahead. Let's add information about what treatments did the client receive today. So we'll just go ahead and click on neurotoxins. And then let's just say she's getting Botox. So we'll click that. Now I want to kind of pause here for a second because this leads me into another really great forms update that we've recently added. So now you can actually save your progress while you're working on a form. So this is so nice because just like you see here, you can start filling out a form. And then let's say, for example, that you need to jump over into another task. It's super easy to save your progress, close the form, and then come back later. So, this is so nice because you don't have to worry about finishing up, detailed SOAP notes, for example, or other types of forms. You don't have to finish those in one sitting. So it's going to kind of take some of that pressure off and make sure that you have adequate time to put in detailed notes that are going to be really accurate as well, which is so important. So I really love this ability to save your progress feature, especially if you work for a really busy business where, your providers are seeing a high volume of clients every day. You're jumping from appointment to appointment. So now you can actually finish your charting when it's convenient for you. So to show you how that works, let's say, for example, that I do need to jump into another task quickly. I'm just going to go up here and click Save Progress and Close. So let's click on that now. So now that progress is saved, I can actually also see that I have started working on this form and I've saved some progress because this little icon here, you can see this little circle that's half filled out. So you can see that I'm still working on that form and it even shows the last modified date and time as well. So I really love that. Okay, so let's say I now want to jump over into another task real quick. Let's say I want to go to this chin enhancement appointment and check out this appointment. So I can easily go here. Let me just check it in real quick and then we'll check it out. Okay, so let's go ahead and check that out. Okay, perfect. So I have now closed out that appointment. If I want to go, look at some products, look at my sales, things like that, go to the client screen, I can do whatever I need to. And then when I have time, I can come back, I can go back to that form. And again, I can also open up the form on the client timeline. So if I want to go back here and search for Carrie, I can access the form that way as well. So I can go here and on the client timeline, we can see in the form section that form is in progress. And I can go ahead and click and show the details. So I can continue filling out the form here, or I can also jump back to my calendar, click on that appointment that we have, and then I can go ahead and continue filling out that form as well. So we'll go ahead and click back here and click fill out. And as you can see, all of my progress has been saved. So I can just go ahead and finish filling out the form. So let me just quickly do that. So let's say she's just getting some Botox. So we're going to click none on the dermal fillers. We'll just say that she used 50 units of Botox total across all of her injection sites. And then I can also mark up the image using our image markup feature. So let me just quickly do that just to show you guys briefly what that looks like. We'll just do something like that. Just annotate that a little bit. And then let's say that we had some injections over here as well. So we can just do something like that. Of course, you can add a lot more detailed annotations here. You could even put little comments about how many units were used in each site and things like that. If you want to actually see a deep dive webinar on our image markup feature, we do have a couple different webinars about, one is for image markup for med spas. And then we also have a webinar called image markup for massage practices as well. So definitely make sure you check those out for an in-depth look at image markup. Okay, so let me just go ahead and save that. And then I will add the provider signature. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then when I am ready, when I've finished adding all of the information to my form, I will go ahead and just click Submit for Review. Okay, perfect. And I can see that the form has been submitted for review. So now that I've submitted that form, I can go ahead, and one thing I want to point out here is once you submit that form for review, you're going to see also when you look at the appointment here on your calendar, you can see the form now shows as submitted for review right here, and we can see when that was submitted. So let's now hop over to the form submission screen. So I will go ahead and click on More, and then I'm going to click on Form Submissions right here. So now you can see that all of my different forms here. I love this form submission screen because you can easily see the status of all of your different forms at a glance. So we have the status column. You can see that a couple of these forms are waiting for review. Some of them are completed. We also have another one that's still in progress. So, the provider started to fill out the information for Lynn Francis, but the provider is not yet done. So it just shows as in progress. And then, of course, you can also see the last modified time and date as well. So that's super helpful too. And then, so as I kind of already talked about, all the forms that are waiting to be reviewed will appear here. You can see they're in this needs review status. And then this is really great because different form reviewers, so kind of who I was talking about before. So think about, medical directors, nurse practitioners, other staff members that you have who need to review. They can come in here to the form submission screen and they can approve and then sign off on forms if needed on whatever basis works for them, whatever kind of schedule they want to use. So maybe they want to come in and review and approve forms kind of ad hoc throughout the day as they have time. Or we've often seen a lot of spas and salons who have somebody who wants to come in and maybe sign off on forms once a day or once a week. We see that's really common with med spas where maybe the medical director is only coming in to review the forms once a week, something like that. So whatever schedule you want for your form review, you can set that up. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to review and approve our form. Let's click on the one for Carrie Griffith that we just submitted here. So as you can see, we have submitted it for review. I'm going to go through, as the reviewer, I will review all of that information, make sure everything looks accurate. And then if everything looks good, all I need to do is sign for approval. So if I was Katie Wilson in this case, I am logged in as Katie Wilson. So I now have the ability to just click sign for approval. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then I can just type my name as the reviewer, and then I'll just click approve right there. So now we can see it's approved. We can even see the timestamp and the date, when that was approved, and even the IP address as well. So really easy to go back and look at, all of that information. When I close that out, now you can see that the status has changed from needs review to completed. So it's super easy to manage your approval process right here in Mangomint. So before we, close out the webinar, just to go over a couple more ideas for, other types of custom forms you may want to build with Mangomint. I think there are really so many different possibilities when it comes to our integrated forms feature. And you can really, I've given you a taste of this, but you can easily build the types of forms that you need to. So whether that's, client intake forms, consent forms, waivers, questionnaires, external job applications that we talked about, SOAP notes, request forms, membership agreements, and so much more. It's so easy to do all of that in Mangomint. And no matter what type of form you want to build, we have you covered. Okay, so before we wrap up, I do see we have a couple questions that have come in. So let me go ahead and jump in the chat and look at those, and let's go answer some of those questions. Okay, so our first question here is somebody has asked, what if a form reviewer finds some errors and they're not ready to approve the form? So that's a great question. That can definitely happen sometimes. And that's the purpose of having this whole review and approval process. You want to catch those errors. So it's really easy to work with that in case that happens. If the reviewer is not ready to approve the form, they can actually go in and we have an option for them. So let me just go to this other form that needs review, for example. Let's say that we look looked at this form and we decided it was not ready to be, approved yet, and we didn't want to sign off on it, what we can do is click here and just go to use this option with the 3 dots and click revert to in progress. So you can go ahead and do that. It'll go back to in progress. The provider can finish, filling out the form, correct their errors, things like that. And then they can submit the form for review and approval again. So that's a great question. Okay. So we have another question here. What if I messed up filling out a form and I want to start over? So that is a great question as well. And, no worries if that happens. We make it super easy to handle that situation as well, because we know that is bound to happen sometimes. So let's say, for example, I'm going to hop back over to the calendar here. Let's just quickly book a new appointment just so I can show you guys what you would do for that. Let's just go ahead and book another Botox appointment, and then we'll go ahead and book that. And then let's say I started filling out this form. I started filling this out. We'll just put a couple of details in here real quick. Okay, perfect. And then I'll just go ahead. Let's say I'm going to save that progress now. Let me jump back in there. Let's say, for example, that I realize that I need to start over. So it's super easy to handle that. All you need to do is go here and to the 3 dots again, and then we have this option that says discard form. So if you go ahead and click discard form, it'll say, are you sure you want to discard the form? All the changes will be lost. You say, that's okay. So once you click that, that will reset the form and will delete all of your saved changes. So if you need to just wipe it clean and start over, it's super easy to do that. Okay, and then I think we have one more question that came in. How does form approval work if I have multiple locations? So another really good question, awesome questions today. So if you do have multiple locations set up in your Mangomint account, for this particular example, I only have one location for the 7 Lakes Med Spa. But if you did have multiple locations, then we can also easily handle that when it comes to form approval. So when you go to edit the form details, if I go back here, let me go back to my form templates, and then I'll just go back to the form that we were editing before. When you're here editing the details here, when you actually go to click, to select, does this form require review? You'll actually be able to select a specific staff member for each location who can, review and sign off on the form if needed. Or you can even select multiple staff members for each location if you want to as well. And then the way that would work is just any one of those staff members for each location will be able to review and approve it. So love that question. Okay, well, I think we have now gone through all of the questions, really great questions today. So that is going to wrap up today's feature spotlight, and really love showing you this overview of our integrated forms. I think you can see with our latest form saving and form approval enhancements, combined with other powerful tools we talked about today, like image markup, our integrated forms are really more powerful than ever before. And it's so easy to collect and manage client information in Mangomint. So if you have questions about how to set up integrated forms for your salon or spa, chat with our support team and check out our Learning Center. We have a lot of great resources about our forms, and then we also have great forms content on our blog as well. All right, thanks so much for tuning in today, everybody. Bye.